Thank you, Matt Chatfield, Webster Economic Development Alliance. What you have in front of you today is an updated cost estimate for this project that we've been discussing probably now for the past 3 years. This update came from the engineers that the village hired in February, T.Y. Lin, to conduct an update from cost estimates that we developed back in 2019. And what we have now is an updated cost, and I failed to realize that this table in front of you doesn't include the requests that we're going to ask as part of this grant. So the total project number that we have right now is roughly $10.6 million. The village has already been awarded $1.838 million from the state, which is roughly 17.4% of that $10.6 million. So the maximum request that the village would be allowed for this upcoming grant application would be 20% of the overall, or 80% of the overall project cost, which would be roughly $8,471,000. So that's the request that we're going to put in to the federal government. 3 years ago, we attempted to submit an application for this exact same grant program, and we got to the finish line and realized that for some reason or another, we couldn't hit the submit button. It was very frustrating, but regardless, it's what happened. I've been working with the ladies in the front office for the past week and a half, and we have finally, we have status with the federal government such that we could submit a grant application on behalf of the village. So we literally can hit the submit button. So that's all that back end stuff has been accomplished, and now it's just down to writing the grant. Some of the language is a little different, so it's not as the equivalent of dusting it off from 2019. We will need to do some additional verbiage, but it's not nearly as big a lift as it was the first time. So I'm here before you tonight to actually request that the board authorize the village to submit that grant application. The submission of the application itself doesn't bind the village to spending any money. Obviously, that would only happen once an award and a contract was then executed. That being said, we'll have to go in by April 14th, and there will need to be, however the authorization needs to happen. Maybe the board can authorize me to hit the submit button, or maybe prefer to authorize Marcia to hit the submit button. I do not believe the mayor will be here on the 14th of April, correct. So we will need to authorize, most likely, the treasurer.
What did you say the grant amount was?
$8,471,000.
Yeah. Okay, 8.471, okay.
Right. So there is a delta there. There's a local requirement that's going to be about 2.6%, $280,000. And that will be...
How do you get that? If you add 1.38 million plus 8.471?
1.838.
Oh, 8.3. You talk too fast.
So he gets $8 million from people.
I don't have it yet. But we're getting it.
That gives us $10,309,000.
With $280,000 left is the local match, which will be worked out with your house. So that's the goal. 3 weeks from today, we hit the submit button. Be working diligently between now and then.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tight time frame.
Isn't it always?
I mean, we've known about this one for a little while, but we held off thinking we could get funding from another source, but that source was less likely. So I figured this is a highly competitive grant program in the federal government. However, they put $600 million more into this program than they have in the past. So it used to be there's $900 million across the country, and this year there's $1.6 billion available. And the minimum grant request is $5 million, but the maximum is 25. So we do have support at the federal level from our representatives for the project. We will be writing letters of support on our behalf. This is I wouldn't say it's our last shot for money, but it's probably the last shot we have at the full the full project. From there on, I think we would be moving forward in smaller phases. Any questions? Jerry, looks like you have a question just brewing.
No, I don't have a question. That's good. But the button's ready to go. I hate to miss this opportunity.
Agreed.
Heather has a question.
Your mic.
I don't need a mic. What do you think at home? Do I need a mic?
Yeah.
Oh.
The audience is saying I need a mic. The ones that are here to hear me.
We no longer have Al's head, I now have a microphone.
I like it.
How do your microphones on?
Called out.
So are there any additional questions?
I think Carl
on the
has.
board?
No, sounds good.
So the application goes in
It's filed electronically. Yep.
Yeah.
14th of April.
14th of April. There's, the federal government makes it very, very difficult. Marcia and I realized how difficult. We needed 3 different email addresses and 4 different passwords, and it was amazing. It was very, very great. The fact that I had to schedule a meeting and we had to sit down over a cup of coffee to figure this out. We're 2 very bright people, and it took both of us to figure it out. But we got it.
We're glad we had both of you.
When is the expected,
I
Yeah.
don't know when the award is. That's a good question. I need to do some digging on that, but it shouldn't be too long. I would imagine it would be by August. We would find out. We shall see.
So since
Carry
these
on.
streets aren't yet in the public domain, do you need, as part of this grant application, something from Xerox or something that says, yeah, we're gonna give the village the roads or something?
Yeah, we're gonna get a letter of support from them. We already sort of have the MOU that was drafted back in 2019. We lean on that, but I will be getting a letter of support from them. We actually had a meeting in this room this morning with the county and the town regarding the project, because it does overlap in some regards it overlaps the boundary with the town. So everybody's fully aware of the project, but we do need to have one more update call with Xerox, our friends there.
It is a bit of a head scratcher. It's $10 million of public money to fix up these private roads. And Xerox is the most direct beneficiary of this whole thing. And their sort of participation and support has been lukewarm at best.
They are currently the largest. They own 770 acres there, right? So they own quite a bit of land. They have intended to sell off portions of that land, right? This project would hope to encourage additional sale of vacant assets so that we can continue to see more investment. But you're right. I see your line of attack here.
It's just unfortunate that it's not more of a collaborative effort. But it's like, again, just as a member of the public, why should we give $10 million to Xerox, to help Xerox out?
Well, I would like to think that we're definitely not giving it to them.
Well, as it stands now, the roads are theirs, so fix up the roads, they're their roads.
The roads would be transferred into the public domain prior to a dollar being spent. That's part of the caveat here is the village can't take dedication, the risk of dedication until we know that there's funding.
But it would be nice to have some long-term plan with Xerox as to, all right, now you got these nice new roads, how are you gonna, what control do we have over how now everything gets developed?
Right.
They went and sold their biggest buildings without any input from the town or the village. They just did it.
Yeah, as private
And
property
then
owners.
they come to us and want all this help to make it all happen.
As private property owners, I would expect them to not really involve the government. That being said, the village was awarded, last year, was awarded $203,000 in planning funds that encompasses a big portion of that campus. So the village will end up coming up with the vision for what it thinks that part of the campus should be. Xerox is graciously going to bless us with their presence on that steering committee. They're going to have membership on the steering committee and involvement. We just had an hour-long phone call with them a week or two ago, right, Jake? Not last, maybe last week. Last week. Yeah, they're very much interested in being involved and being an active partner. And they also brought up the roads at that meeting, so they're interested.
Well, they should be. Like I said, they're the ones that are going to benefit most directly from this, at least initially.
Initially, I don't doubt that. The long-term view is a 30 to 40-year lens is what we're really looking at here, unfortunately.
So we don't spend any money anyways, so it's in front of the board, and if there's,
Right.
like I said, there's a contract of some sort that.
There is no harm at all other than my
I
hours.
know the village itself isn't spending any money.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, the rest of that $10 million of federal money, you know, one way or another, it came out of all of our pockets somehow.
The goal of this particular grant program is to help facilitate transportation improvements that are especially those that are in brownfield areas. So the fact that it is an identified brownfield gives us extra points in the scoring. I know we all wish they would just spend the money themselves, but it's patently clear that history doesn't speak that that's going to happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. That sounds good.
Thank you.
We will try to move that so that that application is in on April 14th.
We gotta make the resolution
Yes.
for Marcia to sign, or push the button.
Yeah. And at this point, I would make the motion that Marcia be designated as the person to sign anything that is related here to the April 14th application
It's the U.S. Department of Transportation.
to the U.S. Department of Transportation.
I'll make that.
I'll second.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Trustee Belkane?
Aye.
Trustee Alito?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Mayor Byers?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Great.